this so that we've got it and we can share with anyone who is not available to join us right here live on Facebook. Welcome to Michelle Hoffmann's Liner Notes. Liner notes are the insight the artists or curators offer into what's really going on at the time of creation and what inspired that artist to create that piece of artwork to be what it is. Michelle Hoffmann's Liner Notes is imperative insight and curated wisdom you need to inspire you to unblock your potential. In a changing world, you can find your unique path to create balance and enjoy an abundant life with all the resources you need. I help new managers develop high-performing teams to achieve personal and professional revenue goals. Discover how I can help your team and your company succeed at lightthesparklady@gmail.com. Today, I'm so excited to share with you Vandy Verma. She's the best-selling author of I Finally Feel Secure About My Financial Future. And Vandy will share her book with us by hitting the link on this Facebook post. Or if you see this webinar later, connect with Vandy Verma. And she's got an exciting announcement to share with us today. Vandy, welcome to Michelle Hoffmann's Liner Notes. Will you tell me a little bit about your clients and how you got into this?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's an absolute pleasure. So I wrote my book last year. It was released on Amazon. But let me give you a little backstory of I had no business writing a book. I was a corporate, a corporate executive in corporate America for a long time. And a few years ago, my husband and I, so my husband has been an entrepreneur all his adult life. I was in corporate America all my adult life, and we had a good family life going on. And what happened was we bought we invested in a business that was a bad investment, and we ended up losing a lot of money and a lot of our savings, everything. Things went down very quickly. So I had to figure out a way to come back, get ourselves back from the hole. My husband did too. But I was forced outside my comfort zone. I had to try a lot of things that you don't necessarily try when you have a good, comfortable life. So I went on a journey of learning and unlearning and aha moments and a lot of action, taking a lot of massive action outside of my comfort zone. What ended up with that is I ended up growing by leaps and bounds in my career. I ended up in a senior leadership position. We solved the financial problems that we were facing, and I was in a much better place. So when I look back from that position, I wondered what did I do differently? Yeah. And I felt the compelling need to want to share the story with people. And I don't know, it was so illogical because, as I said, I had no business being a writer. I was, in the corporate world, good life, but no business being a writer. But when I got this calling, this need to write this book, I did. I ended up writing this book, and I just thought maybe 4 people would read my book. That would be 4 people in my family. But it ended up being an Amazon bestseller in 2 categories. I'm so grateful for that.
So you were really able to, well, first of all, you and your husband took a risk and you shook your totally fine lives up by getting involved in an investment to improve your position in life financially and whatever the investment was. But when that went sideways, you didn't just go belly up. You said, I'm going to take massive action, get outside my comfort zone, and make a difference and not let this take us down. Instead, You figured out what was required,
Yeah.
and all of the lessons that you learned by making that transformation actually positioned you into a position where you were promoted to advanced roles and opportunities in life. And I say that gives you all the authority because you understood firsthand what it meant to go through this process, which means you are the authority on that topic. So, what are the things that helped you make this transformation? And what are the things that you've seen other people do? Or how do you help your clients make that transformation from, I really want to improve my position in life,
Mhm.
to actually gaining the skills, moving into their uncomfortable zones and taking that massive action? So, how do you help your clients with that?
So, first of all, I think it starts with a decision. It
Right.
starts with a decision that you're not going to put up with whatever it is that you don't like in your life. And it's like a line in the sand moment where you just decide that you're going to move forward and you're going to keep going until you solve this problem no matter what. So there's a level of grit, there's a level of commitment, there's a level of determination, even if you don't know what it is that you are going to do. Even if you have no clue, but that hunger, that determination can absolutely move you forward, get you unstuck from the deepest of the holes.
Yeah.
So I think I would give myself credit for that. As I said, I was not an author. It never crossed my mind. But yes, having taken that journey and never giving up, and with grit and determination coming to a place where I felt, yeah, I felt like I was in a much better place. So as I said, the name of my book, as you said, actually, the name of my book is I Finally Feel Secure About My Financial Future.
Yeah.
And the reason why I chose this unusual title is because that's exactly how I wanted to feel back when I did not feel secure about my financial future. It was a wish.
Right.
And when I chose to write this book, now it became my wish for my readers that whoever is struggling with financial security, financial instability, not sure about the future, they are probably feeling and thinking the same way. And I wanted the title to speak to them, that give them hope that if I can do it, and this is how I did it, you can too. All you need is that decision, that hunger, that attitude of not wanting to settle and wanting to make a change. So
One of the
that's,
things
yeah.
one of the things that I work with my clients on is I say when the pain of the problem is greater than the action required to resolve it, that's when you take action.
Right.
And that's what you're saying. It's like when you're so dissatisfied with your role and your position and where you're at, then you're like, okay, something's got to change, something's got to give. And then you make this decision, but how do you help your clients gain that determination, that grit, that hunger, that commitment, that persistence to, go, okay, well, I've dug myself into a hole and I'm very insecure about my financial future.
Mhm.
How do you help, restabilize them and give them the resource and energy so that
Yes.
they can actually be that persistent and have that determination?
Right. So it's a combination. As I said, the starting point is, first of all, they have to decide that they're not going to put up with it.
Right.
So having drawn that line in the sand, now when we start working together, now as their guide, as their coach, it's they uh, it's my job to give them the strategies, the tools, the tactics, the moral support, the um, the the support that they need when they don't see the greatness inside of them, when they are down and they feel hopeless, when they are in their head, when the voice in the head is telling them this is impossible. So that's the time when I help them chunk a huge goal down to the smallest of piece. And
Mm.
what you do is you take that one baby step in the right direction. And then you just focus on the next baby step in the right direction. And I hold their hand while they are stumbling and they're not sure. But by holding them accountable, by giving them the support, give letting by helping them see the forest through the trees,
Right.
is how they engage in forward motion. And when you're engaged in forward motion, it doesn't matter how slow you go,
Right.
as long as you keep moving forward. And we all need these reminders. We all um, forget. This is It's such a simple wisdom, simple and profound wisdom, but when we are in our head, we tend to forget that. And of course these are the simple timeless strategies, but then there are other strategies in terms of corporate structure and corporate the inside sort of information, and stuff like that. How's the leadership, if they want to get into a leadership role, then what are the skills that they need to develop? What are the things that they need to focus on? Oftentimes people are focused on the wrong, the
Mm.
I shouldn't say wrong, but the ineffective things. They're probably trying a route that could help them, but it may take them much longer. And by helping them so it's my job to show them the shortcut of, like, we don't need to spend 5 years on a times we don't need to spend time on a 5-year plan when we can achieve that in 3 months. So that's
So it's
where.
interesting because what you're saying is so valid. Are all of your clients people who have made huge investments that have gone sideways? And then you're able to, because you've had this experience, redefine that path for them and give them the clear direction to go, so that, I call it like bumper bowling, so that bumper bowling is like when you're playing bowling and you've got there's like a rail in the gutter, so you're always going to hit a strike.
Uh-huh.
When you hit the gutter, you don't actually go in, so you provide a safe path and give them the guidance so they're not going astray, which then refocuses their energy. And I could see where that would really support grit, persistence, determination, and the ability to keep going, because instead of, as you were saying, a 5-year plan, they can achieve their financial security and their financial goals so much quicker when they've got a clear and open, well-lit path.
Mhm.
Are your clients primarily people who have made big investments that have gone sideways, or who actually is attracted to gain your support?
So the making the big investment and that went sideways was my story, but it doesn't have to be everyone's story. So everyone has different reasons why they want to feel financially secure, or have maybe nothing is wrong. They just want to grow. They just feel stuck. So the word that my clients sort of qualifies my clients is anyone who's in a corporate world who feels stuck. And usually there are one of three things that make them stuck. One is they want to be in a position, maybe in a position that's higher than where they are. So it could be a mid-level position, it could be a leadership position, and they are trying their best to get there, but somehow they just feel like they're not able to get there. So they feel stuck. The other reason they could feel stuck is that maybe there's nothing wrong with the position. Maybe the salary is good, everything is fine, but it's just fine. And they don't love what they do. So it may be that they are seeking a job in another job and in another maybe industry. Maybe they want to find some more purposeful work. Maybe they want to apply themselves in something that they're passionate about. Or they just or the third category would be where people just don't want to put all their eggs in one basket. That is, they don't want all their income coming in from their job, because if something happens to their job,
Right.
then what happens to the income? It's, they're down to zero. So they want to spread out. They want to have a side business or something that helps them stabilize or mitigate their risk, I should say. Uh, Interestingly, Michelle, when I wrote this book last year, I thought that the people who would be interested in reading my book would be maybe a very small section of society, because financial security, I mean, it wasn't necessarily a big concern back then, a year ago. And interestingly, this year with the pandemic and everything else that followed, the whole world is a different landscape
Yep.
now. Everyone, pretty much everyone, is either affected financially by what happened in the recent past, or even if they have a job and things are not really bad just yet, but there's this looming threat of anything could happen anytime. So in that sense, anyone who feels stuck or unsure or about their future, is would be the ideal reader, as we say, for the book. That this book could help pretty much anybody who's looking to not be reacting,
Right.
or maybe they are already in a place where they need to find a solution. It's not even it's not even a luxury to wait anymore.
Right. I know I help managers who are dealing with these kinds of professional and personal situations, and you actually give them a chance to guide them to the future that we're walking into, not necessarily the future that we want, but the future that is our reality. And in that reality, there's so much uncertainty about our financial stability. This is one of the biggest concerns that, well, the whole world has. We don't even need to narrow that down to a market, but certainly people who have jobs, people who have, oh my God, the unemployment rate is above 30%. So people who have not maintained their revenue streams coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone who's feeling unrest and they're really looking for a promotion within their organization or even across organizations could come to you and get strategies and tactics to improve their positioning
Mm-hmm.
and actually then improve their financial stability. So, and also you mentioned that it would be a client would come to you if they're looking for more meaning or purpose in the impact that they want to make in the world, because the world has also reminded us that we have one precious life. And what do you want to do with it? Do you want to be a cog in the wheel? Do you want to be on the conveyor belt? Or do you want to make a purposeful, intentional, positive impact in the world? Those are the kinds of people who could come to you for strategy and tactics to create a more positive, meaningful work experience that also brings in a revenue stream. And or if you're good with what you've got and you know you have more capacity to create some side hustle, a secondary source of revenue, these are all really valuable and meaningful reasons. Yes, you can do it on your own, but to reach out for someone who's been there, done that, and can be a guide like yourself, Vandy, that's when changes can happen much more quickly.
Yeah.
So can you share with us some of the strategies and tactics that you've helped your clients either gain promotions, have it make their work more meaningful, and or created a side hustle and another source of income?
Sure. So if I sort of sum it up and answer all those three questions in
There was a
one,
lot.
say,
Sorry.
I would
You can pick
say
and choose. Give us some of your best tips.
the truth is, it all boils down to one thing. Whether you are working in a corporation, in an organization, or you have a side hustle, you're an entrepreneur, whatever it is, that at the end of the day, we all need to ask ourselves this one question: what do we get paid for? So when I ask people this question, a lot of people say, oh, for working hard, for working smart, for working long hours, for, being a good employee, or, so on and so forth. There's this long list of things that they tell me. When the truth is, all of those things don't matter. What people get paid for is the value they add to the marketplace.
Yeah.
So what's your value? What's the value you bring to your organization? If you're an entrepreneur, what's the value that you're adding to the marketplace? How valuable is your product or your service? That's all that matters. So when you start thinking from a place of value, would hard work be important? Would smart work be important? Of course. Those are paths that help you get to that end destination. These are all means goals. Yes, we got to be hardworking, smart working, effective, efficient. Got to have communication skills, leadership skills, all of those things. But at the end of the day, they are all means goals. That if we're not keeping our eyes on the prize, which is value, then we're not being strategic about our actions. So a lot of my clients, they think that to impress their boss, they have to work longer hours or take on more and work probably on the weekends and stuff like that. That's not a sustainable approach. Even if it gets you some pat on the back or some sort of recognition in the short term, you will burn out sooner or later, or that just becomes your new normal, which means that you just are this person who works 80-hour weeks. That's just how it is. However, when you change the perspective or the dialogue and you start thinking as the owner of the company or as the CEO of the company, and or even as your boss, like what do they really care for? What are the results that they care for? And how can I get to those results faster? How can I even make my boss look good? A lot of people spend too much of their life and time hating their boss, which is fine. There's no judgment. However, it doesn't bring you any closer to your goals. What brings you closer to your goals is partnering with your boss or partnering with the leadership in the company, figuring out the common goals, the vision that they have, and help them, even ask them strategic questions of how can I add more value to the organization where I can help you, reach your goals sooner. Because if you reach your goals sooner, and the company does better, it's just direct. It's gonna affect the employee, especially if they've initiated that dialogue, that conversation by being proactive. That's always something that I know I always appreciated that about my employees, the ones who did not wait around to to be told what they need to do,
Right.
who came knocking on my door.
Right. So I think it's a really good point that you bring up, because when you do want to make a difference and you want more meaningful work and you were planning on doing whatever it takes to be promoted so that you've got more resources to be available and more abundance at your discretion, aligning your value system to be more valuable, as you were saying, with the mission and vision of the company is a genius way to do that. So it's also, as you're pointing out, to align your success with the success of your manager. So you can be the manager of people, you can be the manager of processes and projects, you can manage across departments and find the value to support that way, and also manage up. The other place is managing or adding value to the customers to create increased customer loyalty and value in that customer relationship. So it's really key that you're saying that, because it shows more intensity and gives purpose and more meaning in the role that you're in right now with whatever you're going to do with it. So that must really change the mindset of your clients immediately. Because suddenly they're not in a dead end situation. They're in an opportunity that's going to create magic along the way. So what happens, if they don't do anything? And you talked about, several different types of clients who come to you, but what kind of obstacles do people run into that could send them off a path that they were not hoping for?
So the landscape right now that we're all a part of, it's kind of like Darwin's theory of survival of the fittest. This is survival of the fittest right now at play. And if even, as I said, there are one of two things. One is either you're affected by what's going on financially, which is obviously not a good place to be in, or you're not affected but have this looming threat that something could happen anytime.
Mhm.
So in both those cases, if you're waiting for something to happen or someone to come and rescue you,
Right.
or it's not going to happen. And also with the unemployment pool being so big, even if, let's say, you had great credentials and you had everything, you have a great resume and all of those things, but now you're up against a big pool of people, so you really got to do very different things to stand out, and be a part of the, stand out from the crowd. And what are those things? Those are the things that people should be focused on. A lot of people think that, they spend hours and days and weeks, sort of updating the resume and finding the catchwords and all those things. Again, no judgment, no, not saying that those things are not important, but there are many other things that are a lot more important than just updating your resume. So again, like if you just go with the traditional route of going to a placement agency, or trying to look for offers on LinkedIn, again, if you're reacting or
Mm.
taking somewhat of a passive approach, your chances are not as great as when you are more aggressive and more proactive and really going to the solution yourself instead of waiting for the solution to come here. And same thing for people who want to start a side hustle. Never been a better time to start a side hustle. I know it sounds crazy that I say this in the middle of a financial crisis, but here's something that people may not realize, is that I'm going to name about 5 or 6 companies that were launched in the middle of financial crisis. So Uber, Airbnb, WhatsApp, Venmo, and my favorite is Disney. Disney
Oh,
was
that's right.
actually launched in the middle of the Great Depression, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So, this whole concept of when everything is bad, that everything is bad, that's not true. Yes, most industries are affected, but there are some industries that are thriving. I mean, Zoom. Zoom has become like a verb now, almost, right?
Yeah, it absolutely is a verb.
I'll Zoom you.
I'll Zoom you. It's so interesting that you bring this up because, with high levels of unemployment, people who still have a job
Mhm.
can, and everyone, all three of those categories that you've been highlighting, it's really a matter of, can you take advantage of the opportunities that change creates? This is all a change management
Right.
situation.
Mhm.
So if, for example, there have been layoffs in your organization,
Mhm.
that means that we need to do more with less.
Mhm.
And if you're still an employee, this is an incredible opportunity
Mhm.
to do more
Mhm.
and show that you can shine and be positioned for the next level promotion. If you're looking for more meaning in what you're doing,
Mhm.
it's the same thing. You can do more with less and make a bigger impact now. And as you're pointing out, actually, it's the most opportune time to become an entrepreneur when you're positioning yourself in the right place at the right price point, and you've
Mhm.
got the right product, and you can reach prospects the right way. So these are all things, but how would somebody know, what would be the trigger that they could say, you know what, I can do this on my own, but it's going to be much faster and more effective if I reach out to somebody like you, Vandy? So how do they know? What would be going on in their head to indicate that?
My favorite question, again, that I ask people who are sort of debating, who are not used to the whole idea of coaching, and they've never signed up for coaching, and they are, as I said, they are in this place that they feel stuck, but they just want to sort of figure it out on their own. So I ask them 2 things. One is, what do all Olympians have in common?
Good one.
So, other than gorgeous bodies, they all have coaches.
Work. Yeah, they've worked with their coach to get it that way.
Exactly.
They have the
So
coach to make sure they're not injured.
exactly. And also the right strategies and optimizing every part of their life. I mean, that's how you become an Olympian. You can't do that by trial and error. So in that sense, the analogy applies to people who want to get to some place or get out of some place really fast. You can. I'm not. It's like saying I want to lose 50 pounds. Anybody who's determined enough and does the right thing is able to do that. But right strategies, right tactics, tools, trips, and possibly hiring a wellness coach or a personal trainer will definitely accelerate their progress. So one thing is that it's not a question of can you do it on your own or can you not. You basically, by hiring a coach, you're increasing your chances of success, and you're definitely accelerating your growth. So that's one. And the second is, let's say you never hire a coach or seek help from anybody, and you want to figure it out on your own, and you're smart enough and you're determined enough to figure it out on your own. Great, more power to you. However, one thing that I would want people to consider is how long will it take for them to get to that result. So if it's going to delay their goal, delay them from achieving their goal by like 6 months, a year, maybe two, well, there is a price for that too. And the price may be much greater than what you would have to pay by getting help. So a lot of times what gets in the way is with thinking that it's we have it figured out. But you just, when you put all those factors together and you look at it from a big picture standpoint, it starts to make sense.
Yeah. If you think you can do it on your own, it's either going to cost you time or money to get the goals or to achieve the goals that you want. So reaching out to somebody like you, Vandy, is an amazing way to expedite the success in that regard. How can people get a hold of you and maybe get a copy of your free book? And did you say you had an exciting announcement for us?
I do. I do. So the exciting announcement, which I'm super excited about, is that my book just got picked up by a traditional publisher. It's going to go into print. Right now it's on Amazon, and it was an Amazon bestseller, which I'm incredibly grateful for. But now it's going to go into print, and it's going to be in physical bookstores soon. So, which is incredibly exciting considering the odds. I was told that 99% of the manuscripts get rejected and only 1% get picked up. So I'm really excited about that.
Congratulations. Congratulations to you, but also to all the people who you will be helping, more than just the 4 people in your family who will read your book, because your book is actually giving people a tool to finally feel secure about their financial future. And that's a gift. That's a gift to make a difference in the world. So thank you for joining me, Vandy. If any of our audience would like a copy of the New Management Blueprint, Spark Talent to Ignite Winning Teams and Create Valuable Results in Your Organization, you can go to lightthesparklady@gmail.com. It's lightthesparklady@gmail.com. And we will put links below so that if you see this on a Facebook post, you can just click a link and get to us, and you get a free copy of our book. And Vandy, thank you so much for sharing your insight, your wisdom, your experience, and how to unblock ourselves into opportunities that we may never have thought were possible. So thank you again for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. It was lovely talking to you.
All right.